to have you on the show. There was one sentence that Shabana Mahmood used in the Commons yesterday which really struck me, and I'm just going to read it back to you. I know that a country without secure borders is a less safe country for people who look like me. Do you agree with her?
Yes, and I think that people may misunderstand what is going on here. The reason people worry about safe borders is if the government cannot control the borders, they can't control anything. And if you are a member of a minority, one of the things that you absolutely need is to be sure that the state will protect you. Because if the state does not protect you, literally, and I'm not exaggerating here, you are dead because the majority will always prevail. So when Shabana Mahmood says the government, the state must secure our borders, what she is actually saying is that the state must make sure that all its citizens are protected, and we, and I'm clear about this, we, the minorities, are the ones who are most likely and first likely to suffer from disorder, the breakdown of state control. So I think people need to sort of step back and get their heads out of the 1960s and 1970s and understand exactly what is going on here.
That's really interesting. So when her critics in the Commons say, Tommy Robinson has praised this,
for God's sake.
Nigel Farage has praised this, what do they get wrong?
Well, number one, it's guilt by association. Number two, what they're really interested in is an argument that's going on between white people. I mean, literally, I can't tell you how irritating it is for a person of colour to find themselves constantly being used as a sort of measure of white people's virtues. If you want to have an argument, go and have it, but don't use us as the argument. And so when she said, and I'm going to be completely honest here, I'm not partisan here, but my heart leapt when she said back to that sanctimonious MP who went on about, kumbaya, we're lovely, we're a wonderful country.
I think you're talking about Carla Denyer here of the Green Party.
It was, but there was a Liberal Democrat before that. They both said the same thing. Aren't we wonderful? Doesn't everybody love us, love ourselves, love everybody else in this multicultural society? And they're saying it to a woman who can say with, absolute certainty that she knows what a divided society feels like.
She feels it. She's been shouted at.
And the point is, all of these people, they can talk as much as they like. They can virtue signal as much as they like. But they do that from the position of somebody who never has to fear for their own safety or their children's safety because of what somebody else might think about them because of what they look like.
It strikes me this is a very, very important week for this Labour government in terms of survival and messaging, but you'd say it's a very important week for the country as well.
I think it's a profoundly important week for the country. People always tend to regard race relations as a sort of marginal thing, and they always talk about it as though it's all about whether, if I can be frank about it, white people like us or not. I'm here to say, don't really care. They don't really care. I have no qualm. I have no angst about somebody saying they do not like me because of my colour. That's fine. I don't have to have tea with them. I don't have to employ them. That's their loss. What is the problem that arises is one where people exercise their power over me because of that. And that's what I want any government, any authority to make sure does not happen. The wider point, I think, that we need to understand is that race relations, which is, I think, the way you cast it, Andrew, it's very different from where we were in the 1950s.
That's where I wanted to come to. I mean, I was asking really whether integration had, broadly speaking, worked a bit better since the 70s and 80s to now. And, when I came into the studio here, I was passing some school kids coming back from school, and there were sort of Chinese, Asian, black and white kids all horsing around together. And I thought, actually, for most people, integration does work. Not for everybody, but for most.
Well, that's London, but let me give you a straightforward fact in a way that I hope people will understand. This is the only country in the world, and I've spent a long time researching this, trying to see if I'm wrong about it, where there is a significant mixed race population, and we're talking now something getting on to 2 million individuals, which has come about since the war. The other big countries where that's true, United States, Brazil, South Africa, all of that came about during periods where it wasn't romance. It was coercion, slavery. This is the only place in the world where that has happened in my lifetime. And that tells you something about the nature of this country. We are different. When my father came here, 1950s, he walked the streets looking for somewhere to sleep and couldn't get anywhere. That doesn't happen today.
So we should be quite optimistic in many respects about what's happened, not too down. I want to ask you about something else, because I've been wandering around town since the sort of disaster that took place at the BBC. And, of course, the hardest job there is in British public life at the moment is probably Director General of the BBC, whoever does that next. And a name keeps coming up, and that's your name. And I just wonder what your feeling is about it.
Well, I think my name keeps coming up because people have watched W1A and they think it's time for a reality version, a reality TV version of W1A. Look, I am a great supporter of the BBC, but simply saying it's wonderful is not enough. I think that there is a problem at the corporation, and it is a very simple one. I think the corporation has forgotten that it is not an advocate. It is a scribe. Its job is to tell the country what is going on, what it is like, what it is feel like. Its job is not to tell the country what it should be like, what its citizens should think, and who and what is, if you like, offside, who or what is not permissible. And what I think people are missing on some of this argument is that it's not about just left versus right. It is often about the people at the corporation deciding what the public what is good for the public to know and what is not good for the public to know. We stopped doing that in the 1950s, and I think it's come back, but in the worst possible way.
I hear two things from that answer. First of all, that if you got the job, things would change quite radically. And second, that you haven't ruled yourself out, certainly yet. So, Trevor, thank you very much indeed for coming.
You're such a journalist, Andrew.